In the shorter 8-hour races, the time you spend in the pits becomes even more critical. So we're going to take a look at the science behind the consumables. That's the tyres, the fuel, and of course, the riders.
Yeah, pit stop is so important because the competition is so strong, and if you lose a few seconds in the pit stop, it's so hard to catch that on the track.
Well, the pit stop is basically the cornerstone to any endurance race. During an 8-hour race, it's very crucial because it's almost a sprint race, and with the field being as equal as it is right now, every second counts.
With that in mind, let's take a look at the processes and rules of the pit stop itself. The most important rule of the pit stop is that only 4 people are allowed to touch the bike. This doesn't include the person refueling though. As the rider steps off, he'll share any information on track conditions and the way the bike is handling with the new rider. At the same time, the bike is lifted and the front and rear wheels are changed. This will take the best teams between 7 and 8 seconds. Once the wheels are changed, the bike can be refueled. The refueling crew will deliver 23.8 litres of fuel in between 5 and 6 seconds. This entire process, when executed perfectly, should take no longer than 12 seconds. That's how the pit stop works, but what about the strategy? This is where experience can really make the difference.
Strategy is every time flexible because of the conditions during the race. We have some facts which change our pit stop strategy. For example, crashes, safety car, weather condition change, technical issues, and that's why we are every time quite flexible on that point.
For me, it's really important to see the race before the race is started. I always know how many laps we can do.
And the last piece of the puzzle are the riders, like Greg Black here. The way they handle the bike can drastically affect brake and tyre wear and fuel consumption.
All riders ride differently. Some riders are more economical than others, and it's not necessarily because they're faster or slower, it's just their riding style.
I know from each rider how much fuel he uses. Horst Zeiger, years ago, he was here. Always I could give by Horst 1 or 2 laps more than the other riders.
My philosophy on the 8-hour races is that the race is actually won by the pit stop crew and not by the riders out there.
So what have we just learned? Well, I think the most important thing to know is that you can have the fastest bike and the fastest rider, but if you don't know how to look after the bike and you can't manage your pit stops properly, then you'll never be challenging for the top spots.